I'd love to find out about how you came up with your business.
All right. Well, first, it's not a business. It's a nonprofit, right?
Okay.
It's a nonprofit that my wife and I funded for the first 13 years out of the 15-year existence.
Wow.
Personally, because I'm not a veteran, and I don't want anyone thinking I was making money off of veterans. So it was easy for me to write checks, and then if I wanted to institute a program or do whatever, I was only beholden to myself because it was my own money. So, it kind of spurned off of 9/11. I was a little frustrated, with what happened at 9/11, and all these 18, 19-year-olds were going to, to go fight for us, and so I wasn't able to enlist. I'm medically disqualified due to a whole bunch of stuff that happened to me in college and sports and all that. So what I wanted to do was, in a small way, give back. And so in March of 2003, right after the Iraq War started, that's when I started our nonprofit. And for the first 10 years, it helped them move to their families. We helped build adaptive homes. We donated a lot of money to Fisher House, worked with Wounded Warrior Project earlier in the day. And then it evolved into what the program is today, which is help the men and women transition from military life to civilian life.
And it's way bigger than it was when you started. How did you self-fund it?
So I'm a small business owner,
Cool.
Entrepreneur. I've done some real estate. So what I was doing is, I'm from Vegas, and in the early 2000s, real estate was climbing like mad. And so I would do a deal, sell some real estate, and then just dump all the profits into the nonprofit.
Wow.
Which was fortunate for me. It was kind of, I guess you call it good karma, because in 2007, the real estate market dropped 75%, and I had literally sold almost everything and dumped it into my nonprofit. So they benefited from the rise. So it was a win-win.
So the soldiers that are transitioning, what is the biggest challenge that you see?
So the biggest challenge is they have this tribe of men and women that are their brothers, right? They train with, they sleep with, they fight with, they go to war together. They'll do anything for each other, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard all the heroic stories.
For sure.
Not just, Americans, but, our brothers in Canada and Australia and in Great Britain. And all of a sudden, then they transition out and they leave those band of brothers who would do anything for them, and they go back to wherever they're from, and they no longer wear their uniform. It's kind of their whole identity is left on base. And so the challenge is, how do you find that tribe of people that you belong to? I think it's the biggest challenge. And then the other challenge is, some of them had multiple deployments. I work with a guy with 15 deployments. 4 Bronze Stars, Bronze Star for Valor. Another guy started working with 19 deployments. So how do you replicate that adrenaline of going and fighting the bad guys and then coming home and sitting at a desk somewhere? So I think those are probably the 2 biggest challenges that I've seen.
So you provide, is there mentorship with your organization? Is there meetup groups? Is there anything like that helps? Or is it more of the speaking events? And I know you talked about real estate training.
Yeah, so it's both. So we bring entrepreneurs and business leaders to bases, and we spend a couple days there. And so we do almost like a speaking type thing, and then a workshop to get them going. And then we have online programs, and then we have social media type groups, so they get in groups. I think what we really need to focus on is local groups, so that they can meet in person. I think there's a power of a community getting together. But it's if they want to get into real estate, we got a guy like Jim Shields, who
Yeah,
I think you've had here on your show. He's amazing. He did a 6-hour real estate course for free for these guys to show them how to buy their first house.
And this is live or this is recorded?
He's done it live.
Wow.
And then we recorded it so that it's repurposed on our website that people can go on.
That's
for
awesome.
free and learn it.
So how did you make your way through school?
To be honest with you, I don't know how I made it through school. I mean, I barely graduated high school. I mean, my senior year I had a 1.8 GPA.
Wow.
So it's a little embarrassing to me sometimes, but and my kids jokingly make fun of me because my kids are all smart. But even when I talk, say jokingly, my brain is quicker than my mouth. Does that make sense?
No, I we speak the same language. Man.
Yeah.
So what skill did you get from that? Because I believe, I went to school on this bus with literally on the bus like this. My friends were in wheelchairs and they couldn't, do what I did. And I used to have to protect them and look out for them. I was this skinny kid that get my ass handed to me every day, right? But then I learned empathy, and I learned how to read people and how to work with people and how to just be a better person. There's always a switch side to that. So maybe you hear things differently, but what is the strength from that?
I think I have really good intuition, and almost like I can kind of see what's going to happen shortly into the future. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it makes 100% sense to me.
Yeah, and so I would always use that and kind of play things out of my mind versus writing things down. And I have a difficult time reading, to be honest with you. I can read probably 2 or 3 sentences, and then I'm totally distracted thinking about something else. So I have to use Audible and actually hear things because reading is really difficult for me. It was a struggle, man.
Like, do you remember those days?
Oh, brutal.
So if there's a kid watching, like what you're doing is phenomenal, right? So like what I'm hearing is you're not very good at reading, you're not good at school, you barely passed, you're good at sports. You created this huge business, a charity, I should say. It's
Right.
It's a charity.
I have created businesses.
Yes.
Right.
And now you're the man, right? Like the guys that got A's. I'm just being honest. The guys that got A's don't live in your neighborhood, probably, right? They don't impact the world like you're impacting the world, I believe.
No, I think you're right, and I think for students out there, and I really connect with high school kids, and especially when I show my grades, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's like I did better than this guy, and he has a little bit of success."
You show them. You show them.
I show my transcripts when I speak at the military bases.
Oh, I love that.
I share my transcripts, and people look at them like, "Who graduated higher than a 1.8 their senior year?" And everyone raises their looking around, going, "I couldn't have gotten in the military without getting a 1.8."
Give me chills, man.
And so it was a struggle for me. My mom literally, God bless her, forced me into study hall. So I had 3 study halls a day because she thought forcing me into a worse situation of a classroom, facing and just doing nothing, it was like torture for me. It was torture. So for high school kids, grade kids, those tests you take, which I struggled. I cheated, to be honest with you, because I was embarrassed. I didn't know. I cheated on, you know what ACTs or SETs are. So to get into college, I tried to find the smartest kid and sit. I used to sit strategically so I could cheat. Because I don't think I would have passed. And I remember cheating on it, and I picked what I thought was the smartest girl. She had like glasses. She looked really smart. I got like a 14 on my ACTs, which I don't even think I could get into junior college with that score. It was horrible. And I'm like,
I thought you were a nerd. What's wrong with you, girl?
I literally found out they handed out like 5 different tests. So they were smarter than I was. But so no, I basically had to cheat. And I'm not encouring anyone to cheat.
No, I hear you. Like I wrote 2 real estate books, and I went to go get my real estate license as a test to see if I could do it for myself. And I failed like so many times. It took me 2 years to get it. And I'm in a class that I failed 3 times. And one guy says, "Oh, you wrote that book, right?" I'm like, "Will you shut up? I don't want anybody to know. I can't even pass this damn test. I got real estate books, and I can't even pass the real estate test." You know? And then once I passed it, it was just like...
You know what's funny is, so I had my real estate license, and I'm horrible at tests. So I'm like, I'm walking into the test center. I'm like, all right, God, if you let me pass this test, here's the list of things I won't do. I'm like, all right, I won't drink anymore, even a glass of wine. I'll do all this stuff. I'm like, I literally was praying to God, do not make me sit for 5 hours again to take this test again. And somehow I passed it. I'm like, oh shit, now I promised God all these different things I got to do, but that was torture for me. And I was like 30 something years old.
Yeah. My kids have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old daughter, and they're like, "Daddy, I hope you pass your test because when I come home, I'm just like, I'm going to my room, I'm going to cry." Like, it was so bad. I'm so happy you screwed up my name. I'm so happy. You know why? No, because you tapped into this level of when you were back as a kid. And what would you tell somebody that's sitting at home that maybe watching this and thinking, you know what, my grades suck, I don't fit in a box? What would you tell them?
Well, a couple of things is your parents are probably pushing you to do better.
Yeah.
Right? And so your parents are just trying to be good people. Mm-hmm. They love you. And honestly, I think my parents were somewhat embarrassed that I wasn't a successful student. Okay, yeah. Right? When other parents are talking, they're like, "Oh, your son isn't in honors classes? My kid can't spell honors classes." Yeah. Right? So your parents are just trying to do the right thing for you. They may be going about it the wrong way. Put the effort in. Sometimes I just didn't put the effort in. Like, I wouldn't even attempt to try homework. So put the effort in, right? Mm-hmm. And so those would be the 2 things. And then also, you and I could list dozens of people, including you and I, that have some success, that's sitting in front of a whiteboard or a chalkboard. That's not the way we learn. So don't not learn. Mm-hmm. Just find the way that you can learn. And for me, it's watching videos and listening.
I'm the same exact
That's
same
the only way I can do it.
I'm the exact same
so if you're out there and you're really struggling with a book, mm-hmm. and you're memorizing what year this happened and what year that happened, just Google that stuff. You'll probably never need to know it in the future, but just make an effort to do it. But figure out the way that you learn best. And it could be reading, or it could be videos or whatever, and but learn.
That's the only reason. Stop learning. That's the only reason I'm doing this, is because it's like an itch. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I could pick the entrepreneurs' brains that struggle in school that are successful. I wish I knew what they did, and I wish that's the only reason I'm self-funding this whole thing and just running with this, is because I know there's people that sat in this bus that don't have it as good as me. So I have a school called Flip School. I wrote a couple books about it, and I got an online course, and I'd love to be able to, if you think it fits, obviously you'd have to review it, but I would love to be able to donate that to the cause if you think it would help them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is something they can go into a home, right? They're
Yeah.
pretty handy. They're pretty resourceful. They can go in and do a lot of the sweat equity themselves, get it up to be sellable, and then flip it and then do it. I think they would enjoy that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how could somebody help that's not involved in maybe in the real estate game or the speaking game? How could they help your cause?
So a couple of things. They can sign up to speak. We have quite a bit of a waiting list to speak, which we're fortunate to that. They could be a mentor or a coach. So right now we have a whole bunch of soldiers, Marines that want to do either weekly or monthly calls, just to have someone hold them accountable for their goals of transitioning. So if they want to do that, that would be outstanding to have people sign up for that. It's about a 20-minute a week commitment or a month commitment.
You can sign me up for that.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you get to work with these guys, right? And they're kind of paralyzed a little bit in terms of where they need to take the next step. And it's for people like you to say, just take the next step.
Yeah, because I guess they're used to working in a hierarchy where someone makes the call and they do it. So now that they're on their own in the entrepreneurship world, it's kind of scary because you're by yourself. You don't have that command. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, they're pretty regimented, right? I mean, they're told what time to be a PT in the morning, what time to eat, what their duty is for the day, and those type of things. And again, they're very resourceful, and they can think for themselves. But for the most part, they're very set what they're going to do. So when you got the military and you just have a day, how do you kind of plan your day? And being an entrepreneur, sometimes I don't care if you're flipping houses or what, you can have some pretty crappy days.
For sure, lonely days.
Oh, for sure.
And they're used to work. Like I was a chef for 15 years. I'm used to working with a team. So when I went into entrepreneurship, I was like lonely. It was like I can't rely on anyone, and you got to kind of build your own team. So I'd love to come out and volunteer and help which way I can, or do a speaking event.
Yeah, well, we talked about that.
Yeah.
I'd love you to bring your bus down there.
Let's do it.
And what we can do then is you could bring some of the speakers from American Dream in here,
For sure. We'll
and
pick
kind
them
of and pick them up, and then they can share their experience. I want you to experience it.
I would love to.
And then maybe even bring some of the soldiers or Marines in here and go, hey, tell us what you want to do.
Yeah, we do breakout like pop-ups for Starbucks. So we show up for at-risk youth, and we put the roof on, and we put beanbag chairs, and we talk about business, and we do business talks in here. Like I got 99 problems with business isn't one, and we sit down with an entrepreneur and we live stream their business. That's awesome. So then everyone in our network, like you could be watching this on Facebook and say, okay, dude, that's a great idea. Let's help that guy build his business. So I'd love to roll up with the bus there, and maybe we can explore those options with the soldiers, and I'd love to add value. I'd love to give you my whole course and just run with it. I'd love to just say, here you go. Let's do that. Let's do Flip School for soldiers.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And the other thing too is we've had a lot of high school kids on the military bases. So a lot of military bases have their own high schools.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
At the base, because some of these bases have 30, 40,000 soldiers. So they're almost like little small cities. They are small cities. And so I would love to see if we can get permission to have you speak to the high school kids.
Let's do it. No, man, I would love that. That'd be like a dream come true for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so speak to the soldiers and then speak to the students.
My man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.